It is Monday, May 9th, 2022. This is Baseball Today, presented to you by our good friends at Shady Rays. We will tell you how you can look this good coming your way on the show. Oh, yeah. I want to be able to look deep into your eyes because it was a long weekend without the Ploufmeister. I even texted you yesterday on Mother's Day to let Olivia know to have a wonderful Mother's Day. You totally ignored me. What the hell is that?
I didn't ignore you. You know, one of those times you like look at the text, but you can't respond at that moment.
Yeah.
And then it just the day got a hold of me, bro. I was celebrating my beautiful bride and my mother-in-law and my mother. So, tell Michelle happy belated Mother's Day. I'm sorry.
I will. We had a great one. We drove down to Carlsbad, about 100 miles from here, to go meet up for lunch with our oldest son, Josh. It was great. Michelle loved it. She just couldn't stop hugging him. And it's hard. Once you get a kid that moves out of the house, it's very, very challenging. You'll go through that with Teddy one day, and then you'll start crying your eyes out. So it's just nice to have a little family time. I loved watching it around baseball. I'm a huge fan of the pink bats and bringing awareness to breast cancer awareness and the catchers that are head to toe in the pink gear. I loved watching Bryce Harper take Scherzer deep in game one, circle the pillows and say, "Hi, Mom, that's for you, Mom." All that sort of stuff. The first pitches. I mean, I'm a sucker for that sort of stuff.
Yeah, moms deserve it all. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, like one day of the year is not enough. We should do this monthly. Like one day a month, we should be doing pink stuff for mothers just to make sure that they know we love them.
Oh, yeah, but they know it. They do know it. But I think it's just so cool to see everybody honor it. Everybody, even the rough and tough guys in the baseball world, they kind of, they give out that soft side. I love it. I love seeing all the shout outs. I love seeing the lineups that it's, this is Jan's son or this is Marcia's son. It's good. It's so well done. So well done. It was a busy weekend around baseball. So let's get to it. Let's start off with actually a really good series that starts tonight on the West Coast out in Anaheim. Rays pay the Angels a visit. Which team do you believe in more to make the postseason?
Now, unfortunately for me, I did not pick the Angels to make the postseason. I did pick the Rays to make the postseason. Now, after watching a month or so of baseball, I think all of us kind of, we were cautiously optimistic about what the Angels have done.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in a ton of pitching and it's worked out for them. The offense has kind of got going. If you really look at like their lineup, it's a lot of fun. We knew that, but the pitching had to come around. It has. I'm still taking the Rays as my favorite to make the playoffs. I hope the Angels sneak in too, but I'm still picking the Rays. But what's curious to me, and I didn't think it was going to be this way. If you go on Fangraphs right now, the Rays have a 64% chance to make the playoffs. The Angels, 69%. Let's go, Angels.
Mm-hmm.
So the computer disagrees with me. I'm still saying Rays. I want the Angels to do well this year. We're going to the game on Wednesday. I think that's why you're wearing the hat.
Yeah, and I'm also just trying to send some mojo. Listen, I love the Rays. One of our brethren at the Chris Rose rotation, Tyler Glasnow, is a big part of that organization, even though he's not pitching right now. And I love the way the Rays have done business the last few years. I don't want every Major League Baseball team to do it, but I just think they're better at it than anyone else. So I'm a believer in their system. I love seeing guys that I don't think are going to be great end up being at least really good Major League players. They are good with reclamation projects from other teams. I'm a big believer in all that. But damn it, I want to see the best player in baseball get to October. So I'm trying to will this into existence. I'm trying to think the more that I can supply the good, positive mojo that this will actually happen. Because I don't want to see another October where Mike Trout is sitting front row at an Eagles game in early October. I don't want to see Shohei leave the country the first week of October. I want to see him play meaningful baseball. And that was a huge win that they had yesterday, right? They were about to lose a series to the lowly Nationals, and for them to keep the inning alive, and then Shohei gets the mount. And by the way, how about the emotion that Shohei showed after scoring the game-winning run?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's exactly what that was yesterday. Just an emotional roller coaster for them. If they lose the game, you lose a series to the Nationals at home. You win that game, and the way they won the game. Now you win the series, which you're supposed to win.
Yep.
But you also carry that momentum in from the ninth inning. And that's another, I think we talked about it with when the Mets came back in the ninth inning against the Phillies. This is a win you can gravitate towards during the dog days. Guys, I know we're down in the ninth inning, but like, we've done this before this year. Here's the evidence pointing to it. Like, you can really draw from that. So an excellent win by them. And then they've just been good, man. Starting pitching, their relievers have been good. Their lineup's been deep. We talk about their pitching and how that's changed, but like, really, I think Taylor Ward is kind of like probably one of the biggest reasons they're doing what they're doing. Like, having, you knew that Shohei was going to show up. You knew Trout was going to show up. You were really pretty sure that Rendon was going to show up. But when you get a Taylor Ward to start hitting like fucking Mike Trout, that helps your team out a lot. So go Angels. I agree with you on the Rays. I don't want all of our teams acting like the Rays, but it's fun to have a team like them. So
totally.
Look, I hope both these teams are in it. I'm still picking the Rays though.
Mm-hmm. I suppose if I had to, I would pick the Rays as well, just because I can't bet against them, but I'm rooting for the Halos. Let's move on. Rangers and Yankees split a doubleheader. They're back at it early on Monday. Walk-off by Gleyber Torres, who seems to do that a couple times a year. 369-foot home run. Kind of caught the Rangers manager. Let's just say it kind of ticked him off a little bit.
Small ballpark. That's a easy out in 99% of ballparks. So, the win wasn't helping today, obviously, but, just 3-1 count. Probably going to, King is one guy that you put him back out there, you're like, okay, he's not going to give up a homer. Just happened to hit it in a little league ballpark.
Do you appreciate Chris Woodward defending his pitcher, John King, or was he whining too much for your liking?
He's whining. That's the bottom line. And what I think with Woodward, we've kind of seen it now. He's a product of the old school mentality. That's when he played. That's the guys that he was around. He has a lot of that in the way that he thinks about the game. And I implore him to, think about it a little bit. I don't think he really meant to say this. It's just something that does get said about some parks. Like, yes, Yankee Stadium, short porch. We know that. Like, it's set around baseball. Yeah, there's going to be some cheap homers there. But for a manager, you have to know how it's going to come off when you call it a little league field. Now, the only thing I can think of is maybe he was watching some of my highlights at Yankee Stadium. Sometimes I did make that son of a gun look like a little league field. You know what I'm saying? But Woodward's got to be careful with his words. I mean, now he has the Tatis moment that we all know about with the 3-0 swinging. Now he's got this. And it's like, dude, I get it. You played old school baseball. You're trying to, instill that in the game, but like, times have changed. Social media is here, like the game is evolving. You got to evolve with it. Like, you can carry some of those traits, but don't be the old head that comes out and says stuff like this, because then you're taking away from your team and what they're doing on the field. And by the way, I mean, your team needs some help. Like, they need you to be there, not talking about this, being distracted. Like, let's get to work with the Rangers. So it did come off whiny. Gleyber Torres, like, that was great, dude. Like, why are we taking things away from the guy? The guy,
that's the thing.
Hit a walk-off homer against your team. Tip your cap. Shout out Gleyber, who's also playing great defense this year too, having a great year. Chris, just come on, man.
Yeah, he's got to be better than that. I like him. I like him personally. He's
off base
here. It was just wrong. And by the way, guys make mistakes. We make mistakes. Managers make mistakes. Umpires make mistakes. Players make mistakes. I hope that today, after the game, I don't know. I didn't see any words from his pregame press conference.
He addressed it. He addressed it already.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
He said it this morning?
I think he, after they gave him a chance, they said, hey, you're trending. Do you want to say anything? And basically, he just said he was joking. It's a joke. It's a joke. I was just joking, trying to have fun with it.
That's not good enough.
That's the route he went with it.
Okay, you can't do that. See, now you're doubling down almost. Like, just accept it. Just say, hey, listen, I shouldn't have said that. It takes away from Gleyber's moment. He beat us. Whether it was 369 feet or 469 feet. That's all you have to do. When you're the leader of a team, a leader of an organization, no. The whole joking thing, that doesn't sit right with me either. Because then you're kind of deflecting responsibility, which is not what you do as a leader. This isn't the biggest story in the world. Maybe it's a little bit more because it's New York and the Yankees. But in the second game of the doubleheader, he had a couple of homers, I think, that were wall scrapers as well. I mean, we know it. It plays small, whatever. But also, I think that would have been a home run in 26 of the 30 ballparks. Anyway, and I did love Aaron Boone's retort where he said his math was off because there are 30 ballparks, so it can't be 99%. Thought that was very funny. So let's just move on. It's not a huge deal. I don't think Chris Woodward handled this right.
Some like intern stat nerd was like, well, Booney, actually, they can't have 99%. And Booney's like, I'm taking that one to the podium, baby.
Might have been his USC education.
Yeah, USC, Stanford, whatever. I could have went to either.
Hey, baseball today is presented to you by these guys, Shady Rays, which is changing the way you wear your sunglasses in the outdoors. They offer the best combination of fit, style, and performance without the big brand price tag. And here's one of the coolest things about them. Every pair is backed by lost and broken replacements. What does that mean? If you lose or you break a pair, even on day one of owning them, they are going to send you a brand new pair. So if you're like me and you put your sunglasses down and you don't know where they are like 4 or 5 times a year, or if you're stupid enough to put them on the chair of your car and you sit down on it and you break this part, don't worry about it. They got it all taken care of. And here's the other great thing about Shady Rays. They are going to help build America. How do they do that? They provide 10 meals to fight hunger in America with every order. And so far, they've donated over 20 million meals to date. So when you purchase something, you want to feel good about the way you look. You want that swagger. Well, on top of that, they are helping to rebuild this amazing country that we live in. It is so cool. And by the way, if you don't love these things, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop with Shady Rays. It's that simple. So what I want you to do, go to shadyrays.com, use the code today for 50% off 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades. That's shadyrays.com. Use the code word today for 50% off 2+ pairs of premium polarized shades. Go do it now. You'll even look better than the Rose Man. Let's deal with round numbers. Walker Buehler made his 100th career start on Sunday night. Looked great against the Cubs. He improved to 44-14 as a starter. That is a .758 winning percentage. Only Hall of Famer Whitey Ford was better in his first 100 career starts. Now, in an era where pitcher wins doesn't mean that much, doesn't carry as much weight as it used to, does Buehler's achievement mean anything to you?
I think it does for sure. And like, even if you don't like the win stat, it's circumstantial. I understand that the guy's been on excellent teams with excellent offenses, so there is something, to be said about that, but also, coming from like a player's perspective, that's all I really have to offer besides my possible Stanford education
and good looks
and good luck. Oh, I got a lot going for me.
And devastating power at Little League Yankee Stadium.
Never mind. I got a lot going for me. But what Walker does, you show up to the ballpark and Walker's pitching, he's going to keep you in the game. And that's really all you can ask for as a position player on the offensive side. Just don't have those big blow up starts. If you go throughout his career, very rarely are you going to find a start where he gives up more than 5 runs. I mean, I was going through the game log. I think it ended up being like, 12 or 13 times in those 100 starts, he's allowed more than 5 runs. That's a really good percentage of times that you're going to the ballpark knowing that you have a chance to win. And obviously the winning percentage shows that they've been doing that. So I think it does mean something when like I said, when you're there and hey, Walker's here today, like this is a game we can win. Like he's going to go out there and give us a chance as an offense and as a defense. Like it just puts a little bit more of a pep in your step. So I do applaud it. And it also means he's got to go more than 5 innings. Like he's got to go deeper in the game. So, there's a lot of things that you can look surface level. Maybe people don't like the win stat, but like to get those wins, there's a lot of things you have to do right. And Walker does all those things right.
Well, so there are a lot of people that will say, well, hold on. He was essentially born on third base in terms of baseball royalty, right? He was drafted in 2015 by the Dodgers as they were just in the middle of their consistent playoff run, which is all true. Mm-hmm. But he has helped continue that tradition. You mentioned the stats. I actually went last year through his game log. So 33 starts, only 4 times did he give up more than 3 earned runs in a game. Only 4 times. That's really impressive. So, yeah, he has done. And how many times is it? We look in the 7th inning when most starters are gone by then, and Walker Buehler's still working. He's still working. He's an innings eater. And don't even get me started on his playoff numbers. He's a great playoff guy. And this really meant something when I saw somebody put out, and I apologize, I don't remember who put out the tweet last night, but compared his first 100 big league starts to Clayton Kershaw's, and they're nearly identical. In fact, in some areas, they're even better. The difference is Walker Buehler's 27. Clayton Kershaw was 23 when he was doing this. So obviously the timeline isn't going to match up in terms of longevity and things of that nature. But, man, Walker Buehler's out to an amazing start. I'm all for it. My friend Brian Kenny over at MLB Network has always chaired the floor for kill to win. I'm not a guy like that. I still think it means something.
He just says that stuff to get attention sometimes.
Yeah, he does. Brian does.
You
and he
know,
knows
come
that.
on, man.
He knows that.
You know, I was going to say filling in Clayton Kershaw's shoes, although they're Skechers, means something, you know, like, and I was thinking that, like, has he really like stepped into those shoes? Like Clayton really hasn't gone anywhere. So he's still pitching really well, but he has passed the torch to Walker. And for a guy to get the torch passed to him and then run with it, there's something to be said about that, because, you know, Clayton Kershaw's a walking legend. He's a Cooperstown bound pitcher, and, you know, following in his footsteps is tough, but Walker's done it. He doesn't care who he's facing, when he's facing him. It doesn't matter the moment. This guy is ready to pitch. And that's one reason why I say he's top like 3 for me right now, still in the game today, like big game pitchers. Like I want that dude on the mound. I don't know. I can name some other people too, like Corbin Burns. I think I'd want on the mound, you know, DeGrom, Scherzer, but Walker is up there with these guys, man. So shout out, like the attitude, everything about him, man, screams like starting pitcher that I actually like.
And stud, by the way. You know, we think that every team has to have an ace. There aren't 30 aces in baseball, and some do have 2, right? Like DeGrom, Scherzer. You know, those are the very, very fortunate squads. But just because there's 30 teams doesn't mean there's 30 aces. This guy is an ace. And if you look at his playoff stats, by the way, 15 career starts, an ERA of 2.94, 11.4 strikeouts per 9. Guy goes out and does it, and he will continue to do it. So I'll be very curious to see what sort of contract he ends up getting.
Yeah, you know, I just looked at that. He's ARB eligible next year and in 2024. He's not free until 2025. Gosh, Dodgers.
Yeah, no, they're fortunate with him. All right, more surprise through the first month of baseball that Boston is struggling the way it is, or that the entire NL West is over 500.
Now, I'm going to answer your question and then go a different way. I'm more surprised about the NL West all being over 500. I think that's kind of like a no-brainer. A month through the season, when we're talking about the Rockies and how much crap we talked about them during the offseason, even though they went out and got Chris Bryant. And then the Diamondbacks, you know, weren't sure what they were going to do this year, as they're, I guess, rebuilding, not really rebuilding. We don't really know the direction they're going in, but congrats to all of them being 500. I want to talk about the Red Sox. I'm surprised that they are where they are, because we thought that hitting was going to be this team's specialty. Mm-hmm. This is what they were going to do. They just have not got it. There's like 4 guys in that lineup who I think you can really count on. And it's Xander, it's Devers, it's JD Martinez, and it was supposed to be Story. Now, Story has not done anything for them. He really, really has to get it going. I think does he have a home run? He has like 1 home run. He's been striking out a ton. So you got to get him going. But there's been no supplemental pieces either. There's been no help offensively from someone. Like we mentioned, Taylor Ward, what he's done with the Angels. You have to have guys step up and have years kind of, you know, whether it's beyond their ability or their career stats. Like you have to have people step up, and nobody in that offense has stepped up. Now, to our surprise, like the starting pitching has actually been pretty good. It's been the offense, and it's been the bullpen that's been plaguing them. And at the beginning of the season, that's like the exact kind of opposite of how we viewed the Red Sox. So I'm very surprised they've got off to the start. I don't believe they're this club. Like they're not I think they're 10-19 right now or something like that. I don't think that they are that bad. Yeah, they're 10-19. I don't think they're that bad. But the offense has got to come around. A couple of these guys got to step up, whether they got to call up Tristan Casas from AAA. Like something's got to give here. Like they can't just go out and continue to do this. I don't know, man.
So it's basically been a 3-man offense, and JD Martinez has missed a handful of games. So it's been JD, Devers, who hasn't been as great as he was a year ago, but at least his OPS is over 800, and Xander Bogaerts, who just continues to be as consistent as they come over the last decade, essentially. Everybody else is stunk. Story actually has not hit a home run, and his OPS is at 545, and he's getting booed at home. It's been dreadful, and here's why I'm worried about them. Real quickly, they're dead last and 10 games out in a division where we know there are 3 teams that are really good. Baltimore's whatever. Okay. They continue to just kind of build, and we'll wait for a couple of their young guys to get here before I can comment on what sort of team they'll be in the future. But the rest of them, we know the Yankees are good. We know the Blue Jays are good. We know the Rays are good. Boston, good luck. Good luck trying to leapfrog at least one of those teams. I don't know if it happens. And they got the bad news about Chris Sale that he's got some sort of other health issue on top of what he was dealing with. So we don't know exactly when he's going to be back. Might not be until the All-Star break. I mean, bad.
I'm looking at the bullpen stats right now, and the bullpen stats are good. Has this been really just circumstantial? They just blown some leads in very bad times. I guess that's what it seems like. Because if you're just looking at the stat page, the relievers have not been where they need to be. But every article that I read, every time I kind of look up at the Red Sox games that I'm watching, that's what it seems like. If when the starting pitchers keep them around the games, it's the offense can't score enough runs or the bullpen gives up a lead. So maybe
really
that's what I'm
offense.
seeing.
It's really their offense. The number of times where they're being held to 3 runs or less is alarming, particularly in that ballpark. It's just not good enough. I mean, Dallas Keuchel had been terrible until yesterday's early game on Peacock. So I don't know. I do want to say one thing. I thought the Arizona Diamondbacks, I didn't think they were going to be like Cincinnati Reds bad, but I thought they were going to be horrible, right? They won 52 games maybe last year, something like that, 50 games, whatever it was. Good for Torey Lovello. Good for those guys who are getting a chance to grind every day. Zach Gallen has been unreal. Merrill Kelly has been great. Mad Bum, when he's not getting thrown out of first inning, has been really, really good. Davis pitched well. They only have 3 regulars with an OPS over 700. So somehow they're getting it done pitching wise. I don't think they'll end up staying around 500 all year. I think a good year for them is if they win 72 games or something, but good for them. I don't want to see them win just 50 or 52 games. That is a miserable season. If you can win 20 more games than you won a year ago, even if it's in the low 70s, that is remarkable improvement. I want to see that because I want to see Torey stay out there. I just wanted to get that in there. Okay. Acuña, boy, do they love having him back. He just provides such a big energy jolt. He had a pair of homers in the series win over the Brewers this weekend. One of them, he nearly landed on his face. The other, he did the LeBron James silencer move out of the box, and then LBJ actually gave him a shout out on Twitter. Which of those Acuña moments was better?
Those are both bombs too.
Yeah.
I don't really care about the celebration. That was pretty funny when he fell. I want to go with the Burns at bat. So the LeBron one, I guess, is what I'm going with. Uh-huh. And I want to talk about the adjustment that he saw. So first at bat, he gets a base hit off Burns. Second at bat, Burns makes him look silly on a slider, chased way out of the box. And Acuña's like, okay, you got me. Comes back, I think it was in the 7th inning. And then Burns, he just one too many little sliders. This one got over the plate, and Acuña made the adjustment, didn't miss it. And I know Burns has kind of been giving up homers way more than he has. He's already given up 5 and 6 starts, I think, this year. I think he had 7 all of last year. So he's been giving up some homers. But when you clip a guy like that who is having a really good night, I mean, that's when you feel like that we're watching right now. Like that feels really, really good. Acuña's back, getting the place fired up in those unis too. I mean, that was just a special. It was a special at bat right there,
and a great game, and a really, really good fun,
good
game
series,
to watch.
Everything.
I was a fan of the celebration, and listen, I am a LeBron fan, but I love it when guys get told, "Hey, LeBron." Now, LeBron tweets at everything. Like he's the biggest fan of every team. He's such a homer for whatever team is good or interesting. Like he will say something. He doesn't have a diehard feeling about a squad. It's like, hey, if that guy flashes or if that team's playing well right now, I'm on their bandwagon. So he's a bandwagon hopper. That's fine. But it's the reaction that Ronald Acuña had when he was told that LeBron tweeted about him, where he was like, oh my God, like that. It was in this interview afterward. I mean, he looks like he's a 10-year-old kid. And to me, that's kind of neat. I love that kind of showing that vulnerability. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, no, it is amazing. And there needs to be more crossover like this, man.
Yep.
And this is kind of why, you know, the game is moving towards where it's moving towards. Like, let's let these guys, when you hit a home run like that, like do your celebration. You know, there is still some feel involved. You don't have to stare at the pitcher and do it. I think that's silly. But if you're just celebrating with yourself, with your team, like this is what happens. Like we're talking about this. LeBron's tweeting about it. It's growing the game.
Yep. Doesn't hurt at all. Doesn't hurt at all. Helps, guys. Helps. All right. Quickly, what do you have on John Boy Media?
Well, today, see Rosie, going with the boys on Talking Baseball. We're going to recap what happened over the weekend. I am doing the interleague matchups. I only have one series, and it's the Angels Nats that we just talked about. But it's my favorite episode of Talking Baseball is Monday episodes because weekends are always fun.
Yep.
Get to talk with the boys. And that's it. What do you got, man?
The latest episode of the Rose Rotation with Adam Wainwright of the St. Louis Cardinals is out. We put a great clip out today. Really, really fun. Where he goes on these old man walks the day after pitching. He can't crush it in the gym, as he says, like he used to. So in order to recover, he takes walks, whether it's around the city, around the ballpark, because he's just, whether this is his last year or not, and we think it's going to be his last year, he's taking in the sights and the sounds. He spent a half inning this year calling a game with Bob Uecker. He went up and checked out the organist that, he's played hundreds of games at Wrigley Field. He never even knew where the organ came from. He went up there, hung out with that person, just walking through the bowels of stadiums and meeting people that help put on the game each night. And he's just soaking it in. It was one of the more interesting stories that he got into. We talked about why he didn't quit after having a couple of tough seasons in 2017 and 2018. He took us through the whole dynamic. Part of it was physical, part of it was emotional. So really, really good stuff. He's fun. And we caught him. I want to thank him so much because he actually found out he had COVID about 10 minutes before the interview. And he was like, yeah, going on the COVID IL. I feel fine. And don't worry. I was like, hey, we don't have to do this if you don't want to. He's like, I'm good. I'm not going anywhere. So let's do it.
Yeah. Where else did you got to go?
Well, he was great. I just appreciated him doing it. That's all.
Yeah, he's a stud. Every time I hear him talk, I'm like, wow, I want to hear this guy talk more. Like he's very knowledgeable. And I don't like starting pitchers. I don't like starting pitchers. It's just the bottom line. He's
a starting pitcher who, by the way, hit a home run the first pitch he ever saw on the show. Not first at bat, first pitch he ever saw.
That's actually really wild. I did not know that. My respect grows at, like a guy like Wayno, who's been around for a long time. I respect these guys.
Yeah, we talk about that too. We talk about that, and he lets people know about it all the time. So he enjoyed that part of the conversation. So check that out on the Rose Rotation. Don't forget about Shady Rays. Baseball Today is always presented to you by Shady Rays. Plouffe is wearing his throughout the entire. Yeah, you just look so cool. I mean, you upped your coolness factor by like tenfold with those things on.
Believe it.
Nice. If you want to join us live every day, you can do that on the AMP app. Use the code word baseball today to join us. We'll be talking to people momentarily. We'll be answering their questions, whatever comments they have about the show or about baseball. You can join us. It's just a simple download away on your iPhone. For our outstanding producer, Robbie Scirocco, and the coolness factor of Trevor Plouffe, I'm Chris Rose. We'll see you Tuesday on Baseball Today.